All right. Hey, everybody, Rex Bear Leak Project. How the heck are you? So, I've had dozens of requests to show the entire Adam and Eve story, the unsanitized version that is available in my hand right here. So, I did some research and it looks to me, hold on a second. Let me just make sure we've got all this squared away. Okay, great. Yes, perfect. Got too many screens open here. So this is the Adam and Eve story by Chan Thomas. This one came out in like 1965, and it has a timeline of cataclysms in the past that have happened, and a lot of evidence that backs up. Man, the video's all screwed up. Wonderful, just what we need here. So the Adam and Eve story, is it accurate? There's a lot of questions about that. Why did they classify this information? Why was it even brought to the table? Who is Chan Thomas? Is he a real person? Yes, he's a real person, very intelligent. So I'm going to share with you all of the pages that were not in the CIA's release that you can actually get, cia.gov/vault. You can get the documents there as well. I'm going to show you the direct link. We're going to do a screen share with it. I'm going to show you the pages that are missing. And you're either going to be extremely disappointed or you're going to be extremely excited about what I'm about to share with you. So there you go. Also, on that note, I finally got my order of, man, this is like Transformers. Can you see it? It's like, so I finally got my Patriot Supply order. I ordered some more food from my Patriot Supply. If you go to preparewithleakproject.com, you can pick up 2 weeks worth of food. This is 2 weeks worth of food. 2 weeks worth of food, and it cost me $75. Oh, and it smells good. So 2 weeks worth of food in here for $75. You can put it in the back of your car. You can even put it on the back of your bicycle. Maybe. I don't know. That might be a little bit more difficult for you. You could probably do it. You're watching Leak Project. And you know what else I found the other day at the casino? I found a very interesting looking piece of chocolate. So it was very odd. Anyway, so interesting to say the least. The symbolism on the back there, you look at that, that reminds me of a as above, so below symbol, kind of like a compass. Anyway, not too much of a conspiracy, but let's get into the fun stuff now. The Adam and Eve essay, the Adam and Eve story by Chan Thomas. And I'm going to show you the direct link here. All right, let's do this. No. Share screen. Adam and Eve story. Boom. We just look at it. Here we go. So this is directly from the CIA's website. And this is the, it says sanitized copy, approved for release. Sanitized copy, approved for release. So when you go through here, you're like, what does it mean by sanitized copy? And you start looking at some of the pages, and then you notice there's several page skips. There's several page skips. I actually counted the pages: page 2, page 8, page 18, page 20, page 30, page 36, page 46, page 48, page 50, page 52, page 54. So that's why I think a good title of this podcast is Declassified Timeline of Potential Poleshifts and ELEs. Complete Unsanitized Adam and Eve Story by Chan Thomas. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go to the very first cataclysm, or the next cataclysm, like Noah's 6,500 years ago, like Adam and Eve's 11,500 years ago, which is when many hypothesize was the end of the last ice age. So let's get into this. Very reminiscent of 2012, the movie 2012. If you watch that movie, you might say, wow, did they have a copy of the Adam and Eve story as well? And did they take that information and put it into a blockbuster film? So are you ready? Here we go. I'm gonna start it off with the cataclysm. I'm gonna start it off with the cataclysm. Let me see here. How is the Let me just do a moment of pause here and see how everybody's doing. The sound coming in okay? Someone said it's good when it's sanitized. He wants to read a dirty book. Hey, I totally agree with you. And also, somebody said, it was kind of funny earlier, somebody made a comment. They're like, Rex, interesting information, no bull. So I thought they were saying, hey, I don't want any bull. And I was like, hey, relax. And they're like, no, I'm saying, Rex, I like your information because you present it with no bull. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I need to relax. So right on. I totally get it. And all right, enough of that. Let's get into this. Let's get into it. I'm divagating a little bit here. It's been one of those amazing days already. So with a rumble as low as to be inaudible, growing, throbbing, then fuming into a thundering roar. Sounds like a good time, doesn't it? The earthquake starts, only it's not like any earthquake in recorded history. Sounds like something at the beginning of a romance novel. In California, the mountains shake. I mean, I've never read one, but I would assume. So in California, the mountains, I don't even know how to read. In California, the mountains shake like ferns in a breeze. The mighty Pacific rears back and piles up into a mountain of water more than 2 miles high, then starts its race eastward. Now, what it is describing right here is what happens when something inside of the earth causes this gray matter, it's called gray matter, to explode. It's like a nuclear explosion inside of the earth. That causes tectonic plates to move. That causes a chain of unfortunate events for most people, extinction level events for many creatures and beings. And it also creates new opportunities after the cataclysms, if you make it through, and whatever survives and grows after the fact. But in this cataclysm, once this gray matter is released, it's like a nuclear explosion inside the earth, like I said, and then you will see these tidal waves. And this is describing a tidal wave that starts in California that's over 2 miles in height. Now, with that said, this information could be based on an Earth that is smaller if we have an expanding Earth, the hypothesis that Uncle Cliff brought up last year. He's saying, well, you need to calculate in now that the planet is much bigger than these previous cataclysms. So even then, imagine this happening. You would see an extreme tidal wave. Now, let's go back to the research here that was classified for many years. So in California, at the earthquake, not like any other in recorded history. So in California, the mountains shake like ferns in a breeze. The mighty Pacific rears back and piles up into a mountain of water more than 2 miles high, then starts its race eastward. With the force of 1,000 armies, the wind attacks, ripping, shredding everything in its supersonic bombardment. The unbelievable mountain of Pacific seawater follows the wind eastward, burying Los Angeles and San Francisco as if they were but grains of sand. Nothing stops the relentless, overwhelming onslaught of wind and ocean. Across the continent, the 1,000-mile-per-hour wind wreaks its unholy vengeance everywhere. Mercilessly, unceasingly, every living thing is ripped into shreds while being blown across the countryside. Remember, folks, this is just strictly entertainment, so don't be scared. Just be prepared. This is strictly entertainment. This is all just a conspiracy. It's all just entertainment. And the earthquake leaves no place untouched. In many places, the Earth's molten sublayer breaks through and spreads a sea of white-hot liquid fire to add to the Holocaust. Within 3 hours, the fantastic wall of water moves across the continent, burying the wind-ravaged land under 2 miles of seething water, coast to coast, in a fraction of a day. All vestiges, of civilization are gone, and the great cities, ELE, San Francisco, Chicago, Dallas, New York, are nothing but legends. Barely a stone is left where millions walked just a few hours before. So let's take a moment of pause here. I'm going to take a drink of coffee. I'm going to take a drink of coffee. This coffee was from last night, and I actually just put it on the stovetop, heated it up, and then didn't drink it. So I heated it up again, and it tastes completely disgusting, but it's got caffeine in it, and it's coffee. It's coffee. So 3 hours. Imagine 3 hours. A tidal wave, 10,000 feet in height, goes from west to east. And then you start seeing like hot molten lava underneath. Now, if you're in an area that's over 10,000 feet, he talks about Pikes Peak as an example in this book, Chan Thomas. So a few lucky ones who managed to find shelter from the screaming wind on the left side. It says the lee side, but I think it's the left side, unless is lee side a term? It might be. Screaming wind on the lee side of Pikes Peak. Watch the sea of molten fire break through the quaking valleys below. The raging waters follow, piling higher and higher, steaming over the molten earth fire and rising almost to their feet. Only great mountains, such as this one, can withstand the cataclysmic onslaught. North America is not alone in her death throes. Central America suffers the same wind, earth fire, and inundation. South America finds the Andes not high enough to stop the cataclysmic violence pounded out by nature in her berserk rage. In less than a day, Ecuador, Peru, and Western Brazil are shaken madly by the devastating earthquake, burned by molten earth fire, buried under cubic miles of torrential Pacific seas, and then turned into a frozen hell. Everything freezes. Man, beast, plant, and mud are all rock hard in less than 4 hours. But at least they're rock hard. But if you're rock hard longer than 6 hours, make sure to get professional help. Europe cannot escape the onslaught. The raging Atlantic piles higher and higher upon itself. Following the screeching wind eastward, the Alps, Pyrenees, Urals, and Scandinavian mountains are shaken and heave even higher before the wall of water strikes. Western Africa and the sands of the Sahara vanish in nature's wrath under savage attack by wind and ocean. The area bounded by the Congo, South Africa, and Kenya suffers only severe earthquakes and winds, no inundation. Survivors there marvel at the sun standing still in the sky for nearly half a day. Eastern Siberia and the Orient suffer a strange fate indeed, as though a giant subterranean skiff sweeps away the Earth's foundations, accompanied by the wind in its screaming symphony of supersonic death and destruction. As the Arctic basin leaves its polar home, Eastern Siberia, Manchuria, China, and Burma are subjected to the same annihilation as South America. Wind, earth, fire, inundation, and freezing. Jungle animals and are shredded to ribbons by the wind, piled into mountains of flesh and bone, and buried under avalanches of seawater and mud. Then comes the terrible, paralyzing cold. Not man, nor beast, nor plant, nor earth is left unfrozen in the entire Eastern Asian continent, most of which remains below sea level. East of the Urals in Western Siberia, a few lucky people survive the fantastic winds and quakes. Antarctica and Greenland, with their ice caps, now rotate around the Earth in the torrid zone, and the fury of wind and inundation marches on for 6 days and nights. During the 6th day, the oceans start to settle in their new homes, running off the high grounds. On the 7th day, the horrendous rampage is over. The Arctic ice age is ended, and a new Stone Age begins. The oceans, the great homogenizers, have laid down another deep layer of mud over the existing strata. In the Great Plains, as exposed in the Grand Canyon, painted desert and badlands. The Bay of Bengal Basin just east of India is now at the North Pole. The Pacific Ocean just west of Peru is at the South Pole. Greenland and Antarctica now rotating equatorially in the torrid zone. Find their ice caps. That's how I avoid 5G, okay? Find their ice caps dissolving madly in the tropical heat. Massive walls of water and ice surge towards the oceans, taking everything from mountain to plains in gushing, heaving paths, creating immense seasonal moraines. In less than 25 years, the ice caps are gone, and the oceans around the world rise over 200 feet. With the newfound water, the torrid zone will be shrouded in a fog for generations from the enormous amounts of moisture poured into the atmosphere by the melting ice caps. The new ice caps begin to form in the new polar areas. Greenland and Antarctica emerge with verdant tropical foliage. Australia is the new unexplored. What did they put in this coffee, man? I can't. Oh my goodness. I told you anyway, English is my first language, with only a few handfuls of survivors populating its vastness. New York lies at the bottom of the Atlantic, shattered, melted by earth fire and covered by unbelievable amounts of mud. Of San Francisco and Los Angeles, not a trace is left. Egypt emerges from its Mediterranean inundation, new and higher, still the land of the ages, the commonplace of our time, becomes the mysterious Baalbek of the new era. A new era, yes, the cataclysm has done its work well. The greatest population regulator of all does once more for man what he refuses to do for himself, and drives the pitiful few who survive into a new stoned age, because there's still dispensaries in the Rocky Mountains. Hello, yeah, once more the earth has shifted its 60-mile thick shell, with the poles moving almost to the equator in a fraction of a day. The new stoned age, again, the atmosphere and oceans refusing to change direction with the earth's shell, have wiped out almost all life. After this tumble, we join Noah, Adam, Eve, Atlantis, Mu, and Olympus. And Jesus joins Osiris, Ta'aroa, Zeus, and Vishnu. Okay, now, with that said, I would like to also show you, pretty wild, right? Sounds exciting, doesn't it? Doesn't that sound just like the script of 2012? Go watch the movie 2012 and say, I wonder where they got that information from. I wonder where they came up with that idea. Well, if you go to the link, read the link, cia.gov/vault, read the Chan Thomas story. Now are you ready to get into the full version, the full unsanitized, complete, every single page that was left out? Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it? You know, somebody left in the comments section, they said, Rex, you know, people are actually charging for this information and you're giving it for free. Thank you. Well, you are very welcome. And I got to say thank you, because your time is a lot more valuable than money, in my opinion. And you're spending your time here with me and with us. So thank you for spending your time with us, because time is one of the most valuable commodities. Much more valuable than gold, much more valuable than any precious metal, time. Now, depending on where your time is, maybe you're like, nah, I don't know, man. I don't, you know, some people think differently, but depending on your situation, you might think that time is the most valuable commodity. Are you with your friends, your family, your loved ones? Are you healthy? Are you free to do what you want to do? Then you might consider that the most important commodity. But I'm digressing. And I'd like to share with you now the pages. Are we still getting like that weird, like a little bit, not as much. Okay, so the Adam and Eve story by Chan Thomas. The pages that were supposedly, did I say that right? Supposedly retracted. Okay, so I've got the pages right here. Every single page that is not on the website. Page 2, page 8, page 18, page 20, page 30, page 36, page 46, page 48, page 50, page 52, and page 54. But before I get to that, I just want to, yeah, it's still acting totally weird here. So, see, how's everybody doing? You're buying a Volvo for the end of the earth. Right on. That sounds extremely boring. I'm sorry to hear that. That would be one of the last cars I would want to purchase for the end of the world. I would think more like a Ferrari or something. But anyway, it's the end of the world. Why not? I mean, it's not like I have the money to purchase it, but maybe I could write them a check, right? Like, hey, it's the end of the world. Can I write you a check? It's not gonna cash. Well, I mean, it's not gonna matter anyway. All right. I'll stop. You're like, shut up, Rex, and share the information. All right, I get it. Page 2. Page 2, ladies and gentlemen. Here's page 2. Hold on a second. Let me see. How's this going? Where are we at? Where did it go? Yep, there it is. See? All right. Page 2. There's nothing there. It's blank. It's because you'll notice you've got a blank page from the beginning of the chapter, blank page, then it gets into the information. So page 2 is blank. There's nothing there. Not a conspiracy. Page 2. Now let's go to page 8. You ready for page 8? Okay. Going to page 8 right now. What is this? Page 7, you'll notice there's actually the beginning of a chapter. Page 7. Page 8, there's nothing there because it's the beginning of a new chapter. So the next page is page 9. Now we're going to page 18. Now we're going to go to page 18. And you can see here page 17, which is available, cia.gov/vault. Page 18, there's nothing there because it's the beginning of a new chapter. So page 20, once again, new chapter, it's blank. Page 30, well, page 29, you've got the event. Page 30 is blank, and there's page 31. Page 38, nor is it 36? Page 36, new chapter, it's blank. Page 46. Page 44, page 45, new chapter, conclusion. 46, blank, nothing there. So page 50, blank. Page 52, blank. Then it goes on to talk about the author. Page 53, blank. So who is Chan Thomas? Well, let's take a look at Chan's credentials here, shall we? Let's take a look at his resume real quick. Chan is a gentleman that attended the Dartmouth College and Columbia University. He received his degree in electrical engineering from the latter in 1943. As a result of his research since 1949, Mr. Thomas has become recognized as the world's leading authority in the field of cataclysmic geology and its relationship to uniformitarian geology. Uniformitarian geology. Yes, uniformitarian geology. Everybody knows what that is. In 1959, he applied his findings to the possibility of earthquake prediction, and at a seminar in November in 1959, he was issued the results of his studies. He then accurately forecast the months, years, and locations of the major African and Chilean earthquakes of 1960, the Iranian earthquake of 62, the Yugoslavian earthquake of 63, and further predicted that California would have no major earthquakes for the following 5 years. His correlation research in the fields of stratigraphy, vertebrate paleontology, radiology, oceanography, glaciology, seismology. Now I'm gonna get 5G right now. Paleophilology, earth magnetism. Now it's anthropology. and other related fields has demonstrated that the cataclysmic geology theories as presented by Deluc in 1779 and Cuvier in 1812 are definitely more acceptable than they have been previously within international scientific circles. So with that said, Mr. Thomas definitely has definitive efforts in integrating the various earth sciences that have distinguished him as the only American today with such a specialized scientific forte. Now, his research in paleosciences has led to new explanations as such enigmas as the Pyramid of Khufu at Giza, the ancient cities of Tiahuanaco and Baalbek, and the giant statues of Easter Island. Yeah. How's that? It was a little bit of a mouthful there, you know. I mean, started speaking Martian for a moment. Wasn't my fault. It just kind of comes out sometimes when the 5G like kind of lifts off a little bit, when the 5G goes away a little bit for whatever reason, because the satellites and the earth movements and stuff, and there's something blocking the 5G, then I start going back into Martian mode. Crazy like that. I mean, it's just, so I'm glad, you know, the 5G is good for, you know, me anyway. It kind of keeps me in human form. So wild, right? Isn't that wild, that information? I thought it was pretty intense. And thank goodness, though, like all those pages were, I was kind of hoping for something exciting, right? But it's just a bunch of blank pages. So now let me see what the conspiracies say. What do you have to say about the conspiracies now, ladies and gentlemen? Hold on a second. Got to have some fun, right? Because if you don't have fun with this, then geez, then you might get a little stressed out. You don't want to get stressed out. You know what they say about unrelieved stress? You know, everybody gets stressed out, but you know what they say about unrelieved stress, don't you? It's not good for you. So let it go. Let the stress go. Relax. I told somebody to relax earlier. It was actually myself that needed to relax. That was kind of fun. Got to enjoy that. Cheesy old beans. Got to love it. Any questions? I know we need more hats. We need more hats. I've got some, I've got another order of liners coming. Got another order of liners that are in the mill. Hats, we've got very few hats. We've got, I think, I've got a few of the MK3s left, or the MK1s. I said threes because we made 33 of those. We've got a few of those left. We've got no MK2s left. We've got some of the tinfoil caps left. I think they're titled TFCC for Tinfoil Cap Co. Those are really cool. There's very few of those that are even being produced. And then there's the gold edition, but we're working on a carbon fiber edition right now. That's like a dark carbon fiber with the 5G liner and then the protective sigil. And on that note, I'd like to say, be well. Don't forget about the special that I just shared. There's a lot of people that are actually like, Rex, are they still doing that special? Well, it ends soon. So don't wait too long. Get 2 weeks worth of food. I'm going to take this with me to Chicago. When I drive out to Chicago, I'm going to put this in the back of the Subaru just in case I got to like eat food in the car for a few days because I get stuck in the snow. I can do it with this, and then I could probably even live stream it. So I think that'd be fun to live stream that. But this is 2 weeks worth of food. And just to kind of give you an idea, when you open it up, you can definitely smell the maple. It's got, let me show this to you real quick. And I've gotten tons of emails. People say how much they like this stuff. So maple oatmeal, potato, smells good. Potato soup, buttermilk pancake mix, chicken flavored rice, mac and cheese, long grain white rice. Man, I like to smell that maple the most. Potato soup, traveler stew, creamy chicken flavored rice. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm gonna go make me some lunch. Go make me some lunch right now and be the change you want to see, everybody.